Welcome to episode 146 of the Beefy Boys Breakdown. I'm Dominic Rossetti.
I'm
This
Harrison.
gabbing motherfucker right here is Harrison Madden, taking that dab, getting the pod started right. And yeah, man, we're going over UFC 293. We just went over, obviously, the epic upset and middleweight title bout. That's on our main card segment. Go check that out on our channel. Might as well hit the subscribe button while you're there. But we're talking about the prelims because on Beefy Boys Breakdown, we cover every single fight on every single card, unlike a lot of these other slap dick shows out there. That's why you should fuck with us instead. That being said, we'll dive right into it here, trying to bang these out before I head to work.
Yes, sir.
On the prelims, we got Nasrat Haqparast,
The Rat.
big favorite, minus 485 over the debuting Landon Quinones, plus 370 in the lightweight division. I loved Nasrat in this one. Just the value wasn't there to bet it. Like, I'm not going to bet minus 485 on Nasrat Haqparast. Sorry about it. But like Landon Quinones was from this most recent season of Tough. I believe lost his first fight on the season of Tough.
Yep.
I think he only got this fight because he accepted it last minute. He
Yep.
didn't look that good on Tough. That being said, that's where the main things I'm going to say about either one of these guys end, because we got the best version of both of these guys. This is the best I've ever seen Nasrat look, especially on the feet. And this is Landon Quinones looks so much better now than he did on his Tough episode.
Did Quinones not seem like way more game in this fight than he did on the Tough series? Ever?
It was a matchup thing. I think in the Tough series he was fighting more of a wrestler, if I remember correctly.
That might be fair, because, like, dude, him and Haqparast were just down to, like, stand in the pocket and fire piss missiles.
Listen, I want to compliment both men, because when we watch a fight, all as fans we can hope is that we're getting the best two versions of these guys, and quite like the old-fashioned saying, like, may the best man win. Well, the best man can't win if both men aren't at their best, if you think about it that way. So I think we got the best of these two guys, and it made for a very entertaining, way closer fight than the money line would suggest. Like, Quinones really showed up. And like I said, I'm not the biggest Quinones guy. I wasn't a believer. I'm not the biggest Haqparast guy either for that. But I'm just saying, like, I don't know, bro. We got the best version of both of these guys, and it ended up being a very, like, visually entertaining fight.
I just want to bring up the point of, can Kelvin Gastelum and Nasrat Haqparast look any more alike?
Which is so
and I know Cejudo's there
like,
too.
Different sides of the world, like different hemispheres.
I know, but bro, they look identical. Like, you're talking like Mexican and Afghani.
Like,
or Iraqi.
I think it's Afghani. Like, yeah. Did Gastelum's dad like do a tour of duty in Desert Storm or something?
Bro, I'm like, why do you look Middle Eastern, Kelvin? What happened? But yeah, to your point, man. Best version of both these fighters. Also, Kelvin and Haqparast, same height, fight 15 pounds apart. I just want to bring it up. Anyway, Haqparast coming off the win over Makdessi. We don't love Makdessi. We're gonna get to him. He fights on this card as well. He's actually the next fight up, and we'll get to that. But that being said, I didn't expect a lot from Landon Quinones here, and I think Vegas definitely like made me feel more confident in that belief when I saw the odds. Sometimes I wish I didn't see odds for fights, because honestly, I thought this fight was closer.
When I'm doing my research for the week, I try not to, and then I like to go back and see if they agree or disagree. That's how you can hunt some value.
It's a super good way to do it. If you talk about Billy Walters, who's apparently the most successful sports gambler in the history of the United States, they sent him to jail because he's so successful. He talks about how to be an actual sharp in any sort of gambling, you have to watch every single game in whatever sport you're talking about, and then you have to make your own metrics and power rank every team and make your own spreads, and then you take what you've created and go compare it to what Vegas gives, and where you see disparities in your favor, that's what your bets are. So you choose your bets by disparity.
Knowing that, it's kind of what I do. I do like a caveman version. Obviously, I don't have any spreadsheets and all that, but like, because in the UFC, you can't like power rank every 700 fight or whatever. But you have a general idea of like how you view these guys and where they stack up against each other. And I kind of like unintentionally did like a dumbed down version of that, and it works time to time. Yeah, man. I mean, we'll dive straight to it, man. Round one, kind of looked kind of how we expected it to. I thought he was kind of outstriking Quinones, but had definitely good striking defense. Was getting out of the way a lot of Quinones' shot. Quinones got him pressed up against the cage at one point. He was able to reverse the position. So
Quinones
round one wasn't like that competitive, but
Quinones
still,
was
like,
also chopped.
Didn't look like dog shit.
But he was chopping the leg too. He was getting nice money in the bank damage.
Well, and that really shows its head in round two. In round two, the leg damage for Hack Parast was like really becoming an issue and really becoming a factor in the fight. Did you have it as enough to give Quinones round two?
So I didn't. I actually had Nasrat up, but I did put in my notes, and this is like something I have never written before, like looking at it. So Quinones opened up a cut over Hack Parast's eye, and also had his leg like so hurt that I actually put in my notes like Hack Parast might have to fight for a finish because I don't know if his leg is going to hold up the 15 minutes. Like I was actually like thinking I don't know that he can go 15 minutes on that leg with that much damage at the 8-minute mark.
Exactly. The leg was destroyed. Also, Quinones landed a head kick, too. So, like, you could argue Quinones won the damage battle in two. But just, I mean, in round two, I literally have the word, like, phone booth war. Like, it was so entertaining. Like, they were just trading in a phone booth.
All right. So, and that's a great transition for me into round three here because you're exactly right. And what I actually have in round three for my notes is that it's a fun final round that looked a lot like the end of the second round, which was kind of that, like, phone booth trade, but kind of more, like, smart. Like they kind of found the range for the end.
His ability to go to the body in those phone booth exchanges really jumped out to me. Like that was some high level shit.
Was impressive.
Like, he managed to make his phone booth. It kind of sounds brawly or unsophisticated. Like he managed to be sophisticated in a brawl. Like if that makes sense. Like he would duck under and rip to the body. They come up top. It was really nice work from Hack Parast.
I'm actually going to use I'm going to create a new term here. Hope it's okay. I think that Quinones gatecheated himself. I think he was eating so hard into the leg kicks, he was leaving his face open and was eating too many hard shots up top. Like I think if he's more defensively sound on his face and can still land those leg kicks without like taking damage like that, and I don't know that he can, but I'm saying if he can, the fight leans so much more his way. He was eating those huge shots. Yeah. A lot of the times he was going to throw those low inside or low outside leg kicks.
Yeah, and I'm going to give, Quinones the moral victory here. Nobody gave him a shot. Really didn't even, a lot of people's eyes, deserve to be in the UFC. He showed up.
Oh, I thought viable UFC.
Now, yeah,
especially lightweight. Like I think there's fights that he can have that are not going to be. Like, honestly, Makdessi Mullarkey, not far from him.
Like that, yeah, he's one of those kind of level of guys. I think that's fair to say. Definitely a dog for sure. And I like him way more now than I did after, like, my opinion of him based on this season of Tough. So, yeah, I mean, Quinones dauber up even in defeat. That's why,
and dauber up for victory. And I think dauber up for Hack Parast, although if he fights a guy that is better than Quinones, and he will, because there are a lot of those guys, he can't get leg kicked like that. You can't just eat leg kicks.
You remember whenever Dan Hooker Magomedov out-wrestled Hack Parast for 3 rounds, and he's never out-wrestled anybody in his life. Right. So, like, there's that hole in his game, too. Like, if Quinones shot a takedown or two, he may have won the fucking fight.
And that's to your point, too, though, that Quinones not shooting a takedown, even though Hack Parast terrible at grappling. Quinones is probably not good at grappling, right? So maybe he's got to work on that in the meantime and develop that too.
But I mean, either way, as fans, we won because this fight was supposed to not be competitive, and we ended up with an entertaining war. And I don't think either 100%. Of these guys matter that much, especially in a division like lightweight. So that's what I'm saying. You're watching a prelim fight of 2 guys that aren't super relevant. All you can hope for is a banger, and that's what we got. So we won more like as fans. But yeah, Nasrat gets the win, 30-27. That's the same as both of our scorecards. But Quinones made it interesting, even with a 30-27. He made it competitive. He made it a war. Said stock up for Quinones, acknowledging that his stock started at a really low point. It's like a penny stock, But, yeah. But we'll keep it pushing here because this next fight, Jamie Mullarkey, John Makdessi, lightweight names that we know and have heard of and have been around a while.
Makdessi a long time. Been around a long – they said he debuted on UFC 116.
That's wild. That's really – he's 38 years old now.
Bro, they were making –
300.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt that. Minus 300 Mullarkey. But they were making fun of him, saying that he used to fight back before non-pay-per-views were a thing. Like they said his first 5 events were all pay-per-views, because that was the only way UFC
Fight
fought
Night
back
didn't
then.
exist
Right.
before the Fox deal.
Right.
Yeah, people forget that Fight Nights became because of the FS1 deal. And
Right.
to like fill programming. Yeah, for sure.
Hilarious.
Man, I kind of wish they were still on FS1 in a way. Like ESPN Plus, I'm getting over it, man. It's a dog shit platform. Like the UI, the user interface.
Oh, the interface is, bro. How long have we talked about it? 3 years since the start of this pod.
And they have
since
more
I
money
lived,
than God.
Since I lived in OKC and more, and now again Norman. 3 years.
California. Yeah, I used to live. Yeah, literally. Like,
they haven't changed a goddamn thing about it. And you know what's frustrating? We've touched on it, and I won't bury it more than this because I know we're a little pressed for time. Disney Plus is a great interface, and it's the same fucking company.
Just use that. Like, literally.
What are we doing? Like, you own the rights to the code. What are we doing?
No, I agree, man. This is one that, like, I'll be real. Usually, typically, you're a Mullarkey hater, and I'm usually a Mullarkey knob polisher. We split here. I didn't bet this fight. You did. So I'll turn the floor over to you. I mean, is it just down on Makdessi? Is that just kind of where you fade Makdessi? Is that really what it boils down to?
So, like, I think the Makdessi fade in me was strong, right? Because I'd said in text, I think
usually
Friday.
You fade Mullarkey.
Well, yeah, and Friday I had clowned fucking Michael for taking Mullarkey, and I laughed, and I was like, Mullarkey? I could never. And you were like, yeah, we got our local Mullarkey hater here, always sniffing out Mullarkey. And I was like, yeah, he sucks. And I was like, who's he fighting again? Went and looked.
Makdessi?
Yeah, and I was like, oh, fuck, Makdessi. Like, this guy equally as bad, but also 38.
Yeah, right.
So that's what really did it. I was like, oh, man, like, has a split decision win over Bahamondes, so, like, maybe doesn't even deserve it. And then his loss to Trinaldo Hackparast in that 3 fights, it's like, oh, I'm not betting on this guy.
And Mullarkey, tough son of a bitch, like him, hate him or not.
Like, and Makdessi, I don't know for having crazy power. Makdessi's 4 inches shorter.
There's a lot of metrics to point to.
His reach is less. Yeah, I'm like, okay, let's go Mullarkey here. Like, fuck Makdessi. You're right, Michael. So I took Mullarkey in my parlay.
Yeah, fair enough. And man, I mean, Mullarkey fought long. Like, Mullarkey's tall for the division, and he fought like it. He's using the jab, he's using the leg kicks. He kept it at range, which for Mullarkey's good because he usually gets in these wars, these brawls, and he takes a lot of damage. And that kind of ends up happening, but like later on in the fight. But in round 1, he kept it clean and he won the round.
Agreed. I thought round 1 was the only clear round in this fight.
I thought round 3 was clear for Makdessi, quite frankly. I thought it all boils down to how you see 2.
Interesting. I thought 3 was still close.
Okay.
Now, the only reason I say that is because 2 judges do give 3 to Mullarkey.
That's wild to me. I don't have the word close in my notes for 3. I mean, fighting is subjective, and beauty in the eye of the beholder. Round 2 I thought was murky as fuck.
So in my notes I have round 1 was Mullarkey's round. He did what he needed to do. He fought his fight, blah, blah, blah. Everything you said was actually correct. I don't have any extra notes. That's why I'm just kind of filling time with that. But Makdessi, in my notes, I have 2 and 3 extremely close. And call me a hater. I scored round 2 for Makdessi.
No, I did too, but I have the word stole round in my notes. Like, that late knockdown.
100%.
I mean, it was coin flip. Like, couldn't make up my mind. I mean, 100%. How am I going to score this?
And I think I was leaning Mullarkey even. And then Makdessi got the knockdown and finished strong. And I was like, that's a Makdessi round.
Yeah, and then, Mullarkey had some good leg kicks, some good body kicks, but that's not going to win you a round where you get knocked down. It's just the caveman method there. So, yeah, I leaned Makdessi in 2, kind of stole the round with the knockdown. But if you're going to steal a round, that's a pretty convincing way to steal it, right? It's not like stealing a round with a takedown.
And,
you know what I mean? Like,
and the visual.
The knockdown's pretty undeniable.
And the visual of his left hand finding a home the whole 5 minutes of the second round. Like, he kept landing his left. His right, he could not land to save his life, but his left was just fucking piss missling. So
definitely,
I liked Makdessi. Yeah, round 3, bro, another super close round. Now this is one where you have clearly to Makdessi. This is, I leaned to Makdessi about as much as I did in the second here.
Well, that's interesting. I guess it is subjective. I guess I just like the visuals of Makdessi's work, man. I thought he won the damage battle. I thought the jab was kind of landing at will, very accurate with the jab. The spinning back fist, you could argue, is the biggest moment of the round, the most impactful shot landed for either guy in the round. And just, I rarely try to get into the technical weeds with words like timing, but like the timing was so good that even my untrained eye could notice it and point it out. Like that, whenever Mullarkey would enter, Makdessi would just meet him halfway, like almost every time.
And it was that left, like every time he just like pump the left and just like piss, like spark him every time. Mullarkey would be like, God damn it! Like every time you could see him like, fuck. Yeah.
And so for those reasons, like, yeah, you're right. I mean, Mullarkey did land some strikes and, did have some success and won a couple exchanges. But on the whole, give me Makdessi's work. I like this damage. I like that spinning back fist. I like the timing. I like the counters. I like the jab.
So, check it out. Mark Christie and David Letheby both score rounds 1 and 3 to Mullarkey and 2 to Makdessi. And I think those are hard. I think those are hard. I think 3 to Mullarkey's hard.
Yeah, I agree.
So
I would much rather you give Mullarkey 2.
So Eric Colon scores rounds 1 and 2 to Mullarkey and 3 to Makdessi.
I like that scorecard much better. I can live with that one.
I don't have a scorecard that matches any of these guys, but I kind of have the composite scorecard. So 2 and 3, they split, right? I gave 2 and 3 to Makdessi and 1 to Mullarkey. So I would agree with them in 1, where I would agree with at least one judge in rounds 2 and 3. So, like, no one has my scorecard, but I think my scorecard might be more accurate.
When we had the same scorecard.
Right.
Even though we were kind of disagreeing, we still ended up with the same scorecard.
29-28. I think the wrong man won by unanimous decision. Now,
I agree.
Now, if Mullarkey wins a split, all right, he's at home. I kind of get the home bias on a split. I thought a unanimous was kind of some bullshit.
I agree, man. I agree with that take. And, I mean, for your parlay, I'm glad that it hit.
Me too.
Still alive.
Like, think about that. I'm a guy that did not bet on him, and I'm talking about, or I'm a guy that did bet on the winner, and I'm saying he should have lost. So,
time where like Iron Turtle did that for me. I forget which fight.
Happened for me too. Dong Jung, baby.
But one is a parlay. I was like, all right, I guess I'll take it. But
those.
We'll keep it pushing to the parlay busting bad beat.
Fuck this fight.
The Jack Jenkins, Chepe Mariscal fight. No, this was one I was looking forward to. I originally wasn't going to bet it. You and Michael were super bullish on Jenkins, and, like, you guys are both better bettors than me. So I was like, I'm not going to just, like, I'll roll with the boys on this one. Chepe Mariscal, the reason why, like, Chepe Mariscal is a dog, dude. Like, he's a hard guy to bet against. Now, Jack Jenkins, super talented prospect. We're all high on him. Who doesn't like Jack Jenkins, right? Sick style, unique style, stands out, cool image. I don't know everything. What's not to like about Jack Jenkins? But Mariscal is just like a scary guy to bet against. Like, he's gonna be there.
Right, Mariscal has a crazy good chin. Right, we would agree on that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, here is
great chin. And
here
huge
is
nutsack.
A huge nutsack. Here is what I would say. I think me and Michael tuned into is your shin doesn't quite have a nutsack or a chin. And Jack Jenkins' best weapon, for anyone at home that doesn't know, is his leg kick. He's stopped 3 fights with it.
You could argue best leg kick in the entire promotion, maybe
Correct.
in the world.
And if you took a screenshot of Mariscal's leg at the end of this fight, you'd believe us.
He had a calf on the front.
He had a calf on the front of his leg. Wild. Now, to your point, ultra dog. But if that fight gets to the third round, he's not. That swelling is too crazy. His leg's going to compartmentalize. He can't handle that. Like, I don't care how much of a dog you are, your leg's going to quit before you do.
Physiologically, like, there's things you can't come back from. Bro, I agree with every statement made there. I always forget that Jenkins is a featherweight, too, because he took that fight. Or no, was it Jenkins that fought Trevor Peek, or was it Mariscal that fought?
Yeah, Mariscal. Yeah.
Lightweight, I believe, in his debut, which is even crazier to think about. And that fight was a war up a weight class. That's what I'm saying. Like, Mariscal's a hard guy to bet against, man. He's just a dog.
Super tough, super dog. But like, honestly, man, round 1, how do you score it?
Round one, I scored to Jenkins, like classic
Right.
Jenkins style, the calf
Right.
kicks, the body kicks. Dude, I thought he was going to get the finish with that first body kick that landed clean. Like it, like kind of
They
folded, it kind of buckled Mariscal.
yeah, like it was like the like, hey, here's the power, and Mariscal was like, oh, that's right on the line of like, I
That's
can't take
real.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, right on that line. I agree. That being said, Mariscal's like clinch and dirty boxing. Like he fights almost like a hockey player or something. You know, he's just like he's a dog, dude. He's just
He
a
was
scary guy. He's a tough night out. Classic definition of a tough night out.
bro, he was
Mariscal,
fighting his way in to getting into successful positions, but he would have
which is smart because you can't fight Jenkins at
I,
kickboxing range, and he would get in and make it close and dirty. Like
I
that's
agree.
how you have to fight
It
Jenkins.
was
Like,
his only path, but like, damn, was he eating a lot of damage when he would get in. Like that was the one
yeah,
thing I
but
would
he was
say.
able to get in, which is like hats off to you. You know.
I agree. Now, if the freaky finish doesn't come, I think we're saying like, yeah, we're glad you got in, but you were taking too much damage to get in. Because I think that's
Yeah.
what I'm saying is like,
All fair, all fair. I'm just saying, there's a lot of guys. Jack Jenkins is going to make a lot of guys look stupid in his career, and Mariscal, like, he gave it the old college try, man. He put his best foot forward. You know, like he fought Jenkins how you have to fight Jenkins,
even more to
and
that
like found
point,
some success.
even more to that point, I thought in round two he was like forcing it into that dirty boxing clinch affair at every instance. Like he had figured it out from the first 5 minutes. Like, oh, I have to be here to have success. Like he was
Yeah.
doing like dog work. You know what I'm
Now
saying? To get in there.
I'm gonna let you kind of, as the wrestler, you understand wizards and all that a lot more better than I do. I want you to kind of walk us through this finishing sequence. It was fluky, but it was fluky in a way, just like Ortega's injury, where like one guy did it to the other guy, even though
Yeah.
it was fluky.
No. Like
Like it wasn't like you take a bad step and rupture an Achilles, like a non-contact injury. Like
super,
Mariscal,
super fluke, but a direct result of a throw, no less.
mm,
So
you can't post an arm with your elbow fully extended
yeah, like,
as
hey,
a form
bro,
of defense.
learn how to catch yourself like that. Like, who fucking catches themselves on a fully extended arm? That's just like retard shit. Sorry, no offense, but like,
Nail cop. But I'll personalize this a little bit. I actually hyperextended my elbow when I was playing college football. Identical to this, but kind of similar. I was kind of like thrown down. I think it was like a punt return, and I went to catch myself, and I posted. Now mine wasn't nearly as bad, thank God. But I had a hyperextended elbow, very similar, kind of bracing for a fall, and it was too straight, and I hyperextended my elbow, and it was just a little ligament stretching on mine. It wasn't a dislocation or a break or anything, but I can kind of personalize this. I've gone through a kind of a similar injury.
I don't know.
Wasn't fun.
It's weird for me because like I have separated my shoulder in wrestling twice, and that is tough. But those are both from like being driven into the mat and like trying to roll
Yeah.
through, and like those are the cause of someone else like affecting me, right? Which is
I'll
this
say
case.
I learned my lesson from it. It's one of those things you do once and never again. Like as a skateboarder, when I fall, I never fucking straight arm it. I'll tell you that much. Like
Okay, so that's my point, right? Is that the like being on the line in football, I learned like, oh, I'm never gonna keep a stiff leg. Like I'm never gonna plant my foot. Like I'm always gonna keep a loose knee because you get rolled up
Yep.
so much. That's why I never had like
and,
knee
and that
issues.
engages the hip too.
That's why I
You keep
never, yeah, like a low base and a bent knee is your best friend as a lineman. It's your best friend. And I already have a naturally low base, so that was easy for me. But like, yeah, when you get rolled up on, you gotta have like a loose leg so that your leg will just fold, so that you fall, you hit your knee, come down, boom, the weight's on top of
Yeah.
your calf, you're fine.
Every skateboarder will tell you don't want to fall like that. Like,
Right.
yeah.
And so like wrestling, like the one thing that you kind of innately learn is in the down start position, you start like on your knees, right, and hands. Well, you don't start arms like this. Reason being, one of the breakdown moves on the start is a cross arm to the elbow, and dudes will blow their elbow out. It happens in wrestling, right? Because guys straight arm their arms. So they already tell you preemptively, like, hey, keep your arms like bent, like stay tucked down like a cat. So in that, like, you kind of already know, like, oh, don't expose your elbow, like keep your elbow protected.
Well, Jenkins is a striker by trade. Like this is where it kind of got exposed, right?
Right. So
Like that was
Jenkins gets the deep underhook with his left arm and is trying to jack it up. Mariscal pushes off the fence, gets the space, steps back, so his right arm is overhooked, right? Essentially, Jenkins is, if you're thinking about the left arm overhook or underhook, is here, chest to chest, right? Mariscal goes out, so they're side to side. Their chests are pointing the same way. Mariscal has this arm here trapped with the over, right? So he controls this part of his body, right? This whole upper shoulder area is pinched down by his other arm. So then all he has to do, sweep the inside leg with his foot. All of a sudden, one half of your body has no support, both upper and lower. And you're getting thrown, right? Now, in wrestling, you're trying to hip into your opponent. You're trying to roll them in midair 180. You're trying to expose their back. That's the whole point of the whizzer throw, is to either throw them to their back or to escape a position that you're defending, right? It's usually a defensive throw, actually. Like, you're not even trying to score. You're just trying to evade. Jenkins does defend, and like in a wrestling sense, doesn't give up his back. Actually, like does do the right thing, but doesn't. Right? Like when you catch yourself down from that, you want to be here so that you can pop right back up, like a push up.
Yeah.
Like you want to catch yourself almost in your bottom push up position.
Well, and that was a great technical breakdown, man. I'll just kind of caveman simplify it. Whether you're skateboarding, whether you slip on some ice and fall, straight arms. It's just bad news. Like nothing good's gonna come out of straight arming it. Like
right, and well,
hell,
like
even when you're bench pressing, a lot of people think that like you shouldn't fully lock out the elbows because weird shit can happen.
That was the other thing I was going to say. Is in a bench press, you don't start fully extended, and you don't have to rep to full extension. In my opinion,
no.
I think that's a perfect example of like locking joints isn't what you should ever do.
It's a bad move. It just increases the risk factor 100-fold or whatever the science is there. For sure, man. Have you seen anything on X about like a diagnosis with a dislocation, a break? I haven't seen shit.
I haven't. I assume dislocation. That's what it looks like from the way it pops.
I hope.
Yeah.
Like a Jamal Hill situation where it looks gnarly, but it's not that.
Because what else is it? Like UCL tear, right? Or
UCL tear. Yeah, or just the complete
I think that's the
chicken wing dismantling.
I think that's the major. Because your knee has 4, I think your elbow has 2 tendons that are like major, and I know it's UCL and I don't know the other one, but it's probably RCL, right? Like radial collateral ligament and ulnar collateral ligament. That's what the UCL is.
Yeah, for sure, man. But it was gnarly. It's a tough way to lose a parlay. Like I said, you had a 4-legger, I had a separate 4-legger, both busted by this one fluky and not fluky. Like, it was fluky.
Well,
poor technique.
You can hit and your arm can shoot out to the side and not catch on the... Like, if he didn't have gloves and his hand was sweaty, it's a great chance on the canvas his hand just slides out and he just eats that shit on his chest. Whatever, we're up, we're good. It hurt, but whatever. You got some rug burn in your chest, you're fine. His hand's stuck with that leather on the canvas and just fucking pop...
Tough way to end a losing streak for Jenkins. I think it's fair to say he probably lost to the less skilled fighter. Busted our parlay. That being said, great win for Chepe Mariscal. And now Chepe Mariscal, like paper, fucking what do we always say? 18 months from now, nobody's gonna go back on Tapology and remember that it's
like,
gonna
say TKO over Jack Jenkins.
Like, that's a great win.
Yeah, but it sucks because, like, you take, like, the screenshots of, like, his calf and shit. Like, for us, like, hardcores, we got to remember, like, go back and remember, like, he was about to get finished.
Mm-hmm. So, great win for Mariscal. I think that kind of sets his career because he was known as this tough, scrappy guy. But now, that's a good win to have on your resume. It's going to get him a big fight, probably. I mean, Jenkins was set up to, he was approaching that top 15. So, a win over Jenkins gets you close to the top 15, it sucks. It's a bad beat as a bettor. Great win for Chepe. That being said, Jack Jenkins, it's not like he has to go back to the drawing board. Like, he does what he does, and it works. Interesting style. Still an interesting prospect. I hope it's a Jamal Hill situation where it worked. It looked worse than it actually is, and it's not too long of a recovery or anything like that. And yeah, we'll keep it pushing because, like I said, we talked about it earlier on our main card segment. We thought this next fight should have been on the main card. You got Carlos Ulberg, was it minus 285, I believe, against Dawoon Jung plus 230 in the light heavyweight division. And this is an interesting fight, man. I think it's fair to say they're kind of bringing Ulberg along. They're kind of building him up. They're kind of giving that Sugar Sean build in a way. You could
Yeah,
argue. They're not giving
right.
him world beaters.
Right. Like from the last time we saw Ulberg fight, we both said like could be a top 15 guy. Like we like where he's at, and they're giving him kind of a guy that I would say isn't top
Not a top
20.
15 guy.
I wouldn't say top 20.
Yeah.
I would say closer to
I think that's
25.
fair.
Right. So that slow build, that hey Ulberg, if you're like 18 or 17, like you should be able to handle 25. So like let's see it. You're at home. Like here's a little home fight for you. Let's keep it building.
Listen to his past. So he was on a 4-fight win streak coming into this one, which is nothing to sneeze at. And I won't even use the word can't, but like not world beaters. Like a couple of these guys, I don't believe are signed to the promotion anymore. You got the Fabio Charant win in February 2022. You got Stephon Nchukwu, who's like the exact same guy as Charant in June of 2022.
I believe
Go to
both.
November 2022.
I believe both those guys have been cut. By the way.
I believe so, and I think this next guy might have been cut too, Nikolai Negamarianu.
But we disagreed with that cut.
Yeah. No, yeah. And all those guys are tough, dangerous, scary guys, but just not the highest skill level. And then you got Iho Portieria, who had this weird hype.
That's that Ukraine war hype. That's that Fugazi, like CIA, three-letter agency.
We never really understood like why this Portieria guy was kind of getting like the card placements, and
I said it. I had the hottest take.
Yeah, you might be right. Like,
he's terrible. He's terrible.
I have a better counter argument. You're right. He was like overhyped for sure. And then now you got Da. And you notice the different spelling for Da Un Jung. Every other fight, it's been Da UN.
They're different.
This time it was WOON.
That's a different person.
On Topology right now, they have DAUN Jung. It's the same guy. They just spelled his name differently. Because I think it's like a translation.
No, is he the Iron Turtle?
No, you're thinking of that's not Da Un Jung. That's fuck. Now I'm gonna have to search Iron Turtle. They're different guys. I know you know they're different guys. But
what? Do I?
Man.
I want to know.
Jun Young Park.
Ah, fuck! Fuck!
Like how many Koreans could possibly weigh 205 pounds? There can't be a long list. But
that one was bad. Young Park Da Woon Un Boon Zoom Jung.
They don't all look alike here.
So
take it easy there.
Hey, at least I mixed up Koreans and not like mixed up like Chinese and like Vietnamese. Like that sounds more offensive.
It's okay. It's the Strickland era now. We can get away with it.
Oh, sorry. I can't tell the difference between someone from California and Florida. Okay, sorry, we're America.
But man, all right. Needless to say, I mean, all that being said, so if you're, I don't want to use the word can, but if you're giving these guys kind of easing them along, right? Not throwing them to the world, not giving them world beaters.
Wait.
He made it look like how it's supposed to look.
So Da Un Jung is Da Woon Jung.
That's the confusing part. They spelt it differently. Every other time they spelt it.
I'm actually still like fucking shook about this. I've always thought this was two different people.
Fucking King of the Hill. So are you Chinese or Japanese? Fucking over here.
My God, dude, I feel like almost bad that that feels like low-key racist, but like,
they changed the spelling on the same guy. It'd be like if all of a sudden, like they actually used to do that with Spivak. They'd spell it with a C one time and a K the next time.
Really?
I still don't think that's like dialed in. Yeah, they've spelled Spivak multiple different ways. And they'd be like, ESPN would spell it one way and Tapology would spell it a different way, and like. Yeah, so this isn't necessarily the first time.
All right, well, I feel less bad.
Yeah, no, totally. It threw me off, too, with the W.
All right, sorry. I'm sorry. We can get to the breakdown. I had to acknowledge the point that I just realized that's one person, not two.
Yeah, no, it's all good. It threw me off a little bit, too. But that being said, I guess greater point being that, like, Ulberg, if you're going to give him cans, because for lack of a better word, he's crushing the cans, right? Which is all you can ask from a guy. You can only fight who they put in front of you, right? But we are getting to that point now where it's kind of like, all right, shit or get off the pot. was one-sided. The power differential and the speed differential jumped off the screen. Ulberg is a plus athlete. We've been saying that every time he fights. Guy's an absolute stud, built like an Adonis, and like performs like one. Right? It's not like one of those built like Tarzan, fights like James. Like
Right.
he looks like a freak athlete, and then he fights like a freak athlete. Like it those two things are married. Like earlier, Austin Lane, who somehow's on the main card over this guy, looks like an Adonis, doesn't necessarily fight like one. Ulberg, this guy's legit. We've been Ulberg believers. This isn't new news. Every time he fights, we kind of give him a knob polish. But I mean, I believe in the guy. The guy's probably the top light heavyweight prospect to keep an eye on. Honestly, it wasn't Zekic, and he kind of got exposed. Like
when you originally finished watching this fight, did you score at 30-27? And you know why I'm asking that.
I scored at 30-26.
Okay. All right. Fair. Was the 10-8 the third round?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So, as it comes to be, I scored it easy 10-9s, I thought. Rounds 1 and 2, I thought the damage differential was very clearly in Ulberg's favor. The power differential, obviously. Yeah, like you're saying, it was pretty much dominance from Ulberg for all 15 minutes because we do watch a 15-minute fight here. What we don't get is a 15-minute result. We get a 14-minute and 49-second result.
Which I'm super stoked on, bro. The UFC, to their credit,
implemented technology.
Starting to like correct some of these things. The new eye poke rule, where you're able to get a cold rag on it and you get 5 minutes. It's ridiculous.
That should have been done.
For a nut shot,
should have been done.
But not an eye poke. Like they're treating eye pokes the same as nut shots now, which makes all the sense in the world. And that takes some. You got to admit when you're wrong sometimes in order to improve your product, which I love. The MLB, it took them years to like literally like 30 years. The UFC, it took them, less time. And like, I respect it. Like they're willing to admit like this isn't a finished, like set in stone thing. We can tweak a thing here or there to make the product better. So yeah, we get a review because we get a sub attempt at the end of the round, just a rear naked choke attempt. And it's up against the cage, to Herb Dean's credit. It was Herb Dean, I believe, right? And Darwin Jones' left hand, the tapping hand, is like squished in the cage with two large men. Like we're talking about 205ers here, right? Like a lot of like body mass is covering up like the view of the tapping hand, which is up against the cage. And so at first we think, like I said, I scored it a 10-8 kind of as a result of the uncalled tap. Like that was a deep choke. You beat him up the whole round. But then they actually, I think, is that Herzog that like kind of Goddard flags down the like review official or whatever. I don't know if he is the review official in that scenario, but either way, he brings it to Herb's attention. Herb walks out of the cage, he goes, and I don't know if they have a hood like the NFL that are viewing. They have
a monitor, like a computer monitor.
And then And I love it whenever, don't let the ego get in the way. Hey, I got one wrong. It was a tough view, tough angle. It was up against the cage. I didn't see the tap. And they go back and actually give the finish. They give him the submission, which I think is dope. Like things.
It's super dope. Yeah, can I bring up one major point where I think like the winner of the prelims is Chael Sonnen?
Okay.
He talks about dudes give up rear naked chokes to have a way out. Clearly he wasn't tapping because he was going out. The round ended. He was good for 11 more seconds. He kept moving. Why'd he tap? He was done.
Yeah, he was getting.
But I'm saying, like,
outclassed.
Like that's all credit on earth to Chael's point of like dudes are finding ways out when they give that rear naked like that.
90% of rear naked chokes like aren't even jiu-jitsu. It's just like
right, like that,
like a ceremonial like
all right, brother, I beat you down. Like, just give me this.
Yeah. It's saying uncle, right?
Right.
Your big cousins on you at the fucking family barbecue.
Yeah.
You gotta say uncle.
When I saw that, it was my immediate thought was like, wait, he survived 11 more seconds and immediately got up at the end of the choke. Like, why did he tap? And I was like, oh, he was just done.
So we talked about Ulberg maybe fighting some cans or some lower quality opponents. He called out Dom Reyes, which would be like the perfect level of jump. I actually love the call out.
Good name value.
You're a Reyes fan, obviously, but yeah, I mean that's what Prohaska did to like elevate his like status into contendership, was beat Reyes. There's a long list of guys like Reyes is the guy that if you beat him, or fight away from a title shot. Like basically, like isn't it? I mean,
Maybe not nowadays, but I am saying that like out of the names
but
of out of Murzakanov, Reyes, Minifield, and Jacoby, clearly one holds a lot more name value than the others.
1,000% agree. I don't know why the UFC is slow rolling Ulberg. I hope they're doing it for the Sugar Sean reason, like they see the potential and they want to build it. But it's time. You know, this is just like whenever Sean finally got Pedro Munoz. Like, give him Dom Reyes. Like it's the same. It's the same shit. Like
I think if you're the
you
UFC
gave
and
Sean Pedro.
I think if you're the UFC and you're smart, you give him Minifield. Minifield kind of plays into that Ulberg power.
Yeah, because Minifield tries to like out athlete guys, and
that's not gonna work. Yeah, exactly.
Ulberg's younger.
Exactly.
Yeah. Or you could, I mean, Jacoby kind of works too. I mean,
Jacoby's known for knocking off dudes, though.
Yeah, tougher matchup, though.
Right,
tougher matchup.
And I think the UFC likes Ulberg a lot as the Sugar Sean treatment, as we see. So I think it's like a Minifield, and then it's like an Anthony Smith. Like, I think it's like a 14-8-1. Like, I think he gets big jumps once he's there.
Honestly, though, to Ulberg's credit, and not Sandhagen in his career, like, Dom Reyes kind of takes one fight out of that equation. Like the Dom Reyes win, the Jacobys of the world. And
I fully agree, but I think the UFC doesn't want to show their hand. Like that feels like showing your hand. If you're, you know what I'm saying?
Maybe, or they're just like, all right, Reyes is washed. Like we gotta milk every drop.
That's
like,
a good point.
Sure Reyes
has
a decent contract. He's getting paid a decent amount of money.
When he shows up, make it worth it. Yeah, I feel that. I feel that.
Like get something out of it. Like, and maybe that gets Ulberg on a main event. Even that's an Apex main event. Reyes, Ulberg, fuck it. You know?
Yeah, it actually is probably, which is crazy, but
maybe, we got a Grant Dawson Apex main event. Did you see that?
Who's he fighting? So fucked up.
I mean, he's fighting Edson Barbosa, right?
Bro, bro, fuck you. I was just about to say Barbosa ? Which is like ridiculous at this point.
Which I feel kind of like a hypocrite because I've been a Grant Dawson supporter. Like
that should be the fucking third fight on a fight night. That is ridiculous.
Or maybe at most a co-main, even at the Apex. I feel you. Like they're kind of openly admitting now.
Barbosa's fucking Apex. 40.
And Dawson is not a needle.
Dawson's 36.
Dawson, I think, probably.
What are we doing?
Like under 36,000 like Twitter followers. Like
bro,
Dawson is not a name.
That's a fight where I see it get booked, and if I'm Ari Emanuel, I call Dane and all the boys, and I go, what are we doing? What the fuck is that?
Yeah, low caliber main event for sure. But that's what I'm saying. Like Ulberg Reyes is way better than that. Like you could give that. You could give Ulberg a 5-rounder if you're really trying to.
Yeah, I hate lowering my standard, but that's fair if the UFC is going to set that standard.
Yeah.
Here's where we are.
And isn't there like a Sadiq Yusuf one coming up too?
Listen. Yeah,
it's tough. Sadiq, or is it Sadiq?
No, it's Yusuf Barbosa. It's Yusuf Barbosa, and it's Dawson.
I'm looking it up now.
Oh God, the Dawson one's bad too.
Yeah, those are both bad. Those are not main events at all. Dawson is booked against Bobby Green.
Yeah, Dawson Green. Bro, put me
better than Yusuf Barbosa? Question mark. I don't even know. Is it just a mid-off?
Put me in a meat locker for both. Those suck.
Yeah, not stoked on that. But Ben, that wraps up the prelim portion, bro. Episode 146. Check us out on X at Beefy Breakdown. Hit that subscribe button. We'll get the early prelims later on the week. Every single fight on every single card. We don't miss. We'll figure out the logistics of when we'll get to the early prelims. I got to get to work.
Yes, sir.
Man, appreciate your time, brother. This was a lot of fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Always enjoy it. 3 fights are missing. We will fill those in for you guys. You hungry fight fiends. We will be back for you with those. And, of course, we'll be back every week with every card, with every fight, like we always do. We will see you guys. Don't forget to like and subscribe. At Drapple Talk Dom. At Harrison_Madden. At Beefy Breakdown.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Good episode.
We'll see you guys next week.